Let's talk some quarterback options. All right, welcome back to the Onebar and Lupagus show. I am Onebar, and yes, in this episode, we've heard the scuttlebutt, we've heard the rumors, this fact that the Vikings aren't sure if the backup quarterback is on the current roster, which is valid, and I'm glad they're saying that. So we're going to dive in to a few quarterback options, guys that could be possibly cut, that the Vikings could have their peepers on come final cut time. But Kellen Mond and Sean Mannion are not writing them off yet. Big preseason game tomorrow. Hopefully one of those guys shows up, gives the coaching staff some confidence. Before we get into that, remember, subscribe to the channel, like the video, here every damn day talking Minnesota Vikings. We'll be live after the preseason game tomorrow, going with the winners, losers, going over everything studs and turds. Lupagus unable to join today. He is outside tanning his milkers. So yes, subscribe to the channel. And also in the comments, I want to know some guys that you are hoping they could possibly look at, and maybe you want them to have Kellen Mond. Just let me know in the comments. Hashtag 8,000. Let's get to 8,000 subs. But let's do this. I gotta warn you, even though these are guys that are on current rosters, they are not sexy. I'm trying to be realistic here. I don't want to just all of a sudden start pulling out things out of my ass. But number one, let's start off with a guy that in Twitter world, Vikings fans seem to be fairly infatuated with, and that is Josh Rosen. Josh freaking Rosen. Remember, the guys on our roster right now are Kellen Mond and Sean Mannion. So no offense to them, but mildly offensive to them is it's not going to take a ton to upgrade them. But Josh Rosen, currently on the Browns, still only 25 years old. Seemed like he should be about 87 at this point. 16 games started in the NFL, 3-13 record. Currently fifth, the fifth quarterback on the Browns depth chart. I mean, this guy's not making the team. He's going to get cut. Does Kevin O'Connell have any love for him? We will see. I mean, at this point, you can't really play the untapped potential. He hasn't had much of a chance. He's been on a handful of teams, and nobody seems to really keep him around. But Josh Rosen is one option. Next up, a little bit more of a, I don't know if it's a sexier name, but a guy that at least has a winning record as a quarterback, and that is Mason Rudolph with the Steelers. Currently second behind old Mitch on the depth chart, but Kenny Pickett, I'm pretty sure Kenny Pickett is going to leap Mason Rudolph in Pittsburgh, leaving Mason Rudolph as the third string. But they also drafted a guy this year in round 7. So I don't know anything about that guy. I don't know what's happened. But Mason Rudolph, 27, his career record 5-4-1. The way I'm looking at this, I mean, these guys aren't going to come in and be a savior if Kirk Cousins goes down, but maybe they give you a chance to win a game or two. So Mason Rudolph. Next up, Nick Mullins, who we will see tomorrow. That very well could make me look like an idiot if he comes out and just looks absolutely horrible. But Nick Mullins had some good years with San Francisco where he played in a pinch. I won't say good years. He just pretend I didn't say that. He's 5-12 as a starter. He's got 26 career touchdowns, 22 interceptions, 17 games started. So definitely has some experience. 17 games started, like I said. So Nick Mullins, I think he's got a big arm, right? Next up, Taylor Heineke, very familiar name, currently second on the depth chart with Washington, but they got Sam Howell, their fifth rounder. So Tyler Henneke, do they keep him? What do they do with him? But again, 29 years old, like Josh Rosen, seems like he should be about 108 at this point. But I'd like to see Taylor Henneke back. He never got a chance. A damn screen door effed everything up. 16 games started. We know that he's had some good games in Washington, 7-9 as a starter, but he's been on some those teams were pretty gross. So Taylor Henneke, never know. Next up, PJ Walker, the XFL stud star in Carolina, buried on that depth chart. Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield. I think someone else is even in front of him, but I can't remember who. Best winning percentage as a starter, 100%. He is 2-0, but he has 2 touchdowns and 8 interceptions. That is gross. PJ Walker, for me, this would be more of a just kind of an exciting one. This guy could come in, be a spark off the bench, but you don't want him probably playing more than a game or two long-term. But PJ Walker, at this point, I can't see how Carolina hangs on to him. Final 2 guys, I should say 3 guys. These are more just possibly, maybe it's a trade option. Maybe you give them a 6th-round pick, a 7th-round pick for one of these guys. There's no way I'm having this list without saying Gardner Minshew. Gardner Minshew, fan favorite. The guy is fantastic. Everything about him is fantastic. And he's a pretty damn good quarterback, too. 26 years old, 8-14 as a starter. He was on Jacksonville, so that doesn't even matter. Right now, Philadelphia has him second on the depth chart, but Reed Sinnett, if I'm saying that right, sounds like he's getting some steam that he could possibly leapfrog Gardner Minshew. They also have Carson Strong on the depth chart. Philly just traded a 6th-round pick last year, I believe, for Gardner Minshew. So maybe they just want to cut their losses. Hey, give us a 6th-rounder. We'll call it good. Anybody watching this to have Gardner Minshew, not want Gardner Minshew as your backup quarterback, I don't believe you for a second. This would be fantastic. Not only his personality, we all know about it, but he is a guy that could come in and win some games. Final, Buffalo. They got Case Keenum and Matt Barkley. So maybe one of these guys is expendable. Case Keenum, the angle on that is he was with Kevin O'Connell in Washington. And Matt Barkley, there's really no angle there. It's just, again, he kind of fits the mold with these other guys that maybe he could win a game or two. He's got plenty of experience in the NFL. He's been around. So maybe they give a late round pick for one of those, or if Barkley gets straight up cut, maybe they bring him in for a look. Remember, they brought in Kevin Hogan for a look. So any of these guys, I think they would be fairly interested in. So those are my guys. Those are my quarterbacks. Let me know down in the comments if any of these guys tickle your fancy. If you have somebody else up your sleeve, or you just want them to go with who they have. And let's hope that Lupagus' milkers are very, very maple syrup tan at this point. Remember, subscribe to the channel, like the video. We'll be back live after the preseason game. So grab a beer and join us for your stud and